This is the Celiac Project, two guys talking gluten-free. Just wanted to give a little disclaimer. We are not medical experts, doctors, dietitians,
Nurses.
bone experts, surgeons.
We're only experts at being celiac patients.
So enjoy the show. And if you're going to do any changes to your diet or need real medical advice, please go to the medical professionals.
That's what they're there for. We have an amazing treat for you. If you want to listen and watch this week's episode, you can go to youtube.com/@celiacproject and watch it there.
If you prefer, you can listen as you usually do. We hope to have some of our future shows on video as they are available, so look for that as well. Now let's get to the show.
Sounds good.
Today's episode of the Celiac Project podcast is sponsored by Taste Republic, who believes everyone deserves to eat good, fresh pasta, no matter their dietary restrictions. All of Taste Republic's pastas are certified gluten-free and beloved for not sacrificing taste or texture. With fan favorites such as 4-cheese tortelloni and cauliflower linguine, Taste Republic has a wide range of pastas to choose from. Find Taste Republic at retailers such as Whole Foods Market, Publix, Sprouts, Meijer, H-E-B, or online at tasterepublic.com. You found the Celiac Project podcast, two guys talking gluten-free. I'm Mike.
And I'm Cam.
And who's joining us on the podcast today, Cam?
Today we have author and illustrator Jennifer Schiano.
Jennifer has a new book, Bread Devil's Guide to Gluten-Free. We hear all about it and her personal celiac story. Let's get to the show.
Sounds good.
Cam and I are so excited to be joined on the podcast today by Jennifer Schiano. She is the author and illustrator of Bread Devil's Guide to Gluten-Free. Jennifer, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you on today. And we're going to, of course, get deep into your book, how it came about, and how people can read it and all of that. But can you first share with us a little bit about your celiac story?
Yeah. So from the time I was small, I always had a lot of allergies. And over time, it sort of developed into other things. I had asthma, I had food allergies. We didn't know about the food allergies until I was probably 11 or 12. And that's when they tested me for wheat, soy, all sorts of stuff. And they told me I had a wheat allergy, but there was no mention of celiac disease at all. So they sent me home to do like an elimination diet because I had tested positive on so many things. They couldn't tell what was an actual positive and what was a false positive. So it was kind of rough to figure out as a young teen, but I ended up having alopecia. So I lost like a good portion of the hair underneath, like I had an undercut basically. And as like a preteen teen girl, that was not a fun experience. So I went through a bunch of blood tests. Everything came back somewhat normal. No one could point me in the right direction. And I just had these whole bunch of symptoms that like now looking back, I realize I definitely had celiac disease, at least from the time I was like hitting puberty. So I lost my hair. I was going through the food allergy testing and allergy shots as a result. Nothing really seemed to solve my problems, but they just kept it going. They would test me for different stuff like thyroid, Lyme disease, any other sort of autoimmune disease they could test for, they tested me for, but always negative. So probably I must have been a junior in high school. I decided I was going to eat wheat again because according to what the allergist told me, I could because I wasn't having like hives or any like physical reaction that I could tell. So I was eating it. I went to college, ate like a normal college student, pizza, all of it. And my health just got like worse and worse. I would wake up with like joint pain every single day. I felt like I had no energy. I would have to sleep a lot, which is not fun when you're in college trying to learn and do all the things. So I continued going to doctors, getting more blood tests, still the same result. And the alopecia came back. And not until I hit 27 when I went back to the allergist after stopping gluten just intuitively, thinking like, I don't feel good when I eat it. There must be something wrong, and no one's picking up on it. A friend of mine from childhood was diagnosed with celiac disease when we were in college. So that was my first like peek into what it really meant and what it was like. Then I realized that we did have some similar symptoms. So going gluten free on my own as an adult was, slightly easier, but I had no idea about cross contact to the level that I needed to know. And finally, at 27, I was told you have celiac disease, but that was pretty much the extent of, my education about it. I didn't really get much help after that from my gastroenterologist. It was just kind of like, this is your diagnosis. Here you go. So after that, I just started teaching myself and I turned to sketching to like process my feelings about it because I had spent a majority of life not feeling well. And now I kind of understood why. Yeah. And I didn't exactly know how to communicate it to like my family and friends, like how to help keep me safe. There was just so much for me to learn and then to in turn teach them. So it was a battle for a while. I lived with my in-laws when my husband and I were trying to save for a house, and that was a shared kitchen space, and that was very rough. I ended up getting horrible like skin rashes and just the cross contamination was uncontrollable. But once we moved into our house and I was able to control the kitchen and all the cooking and everything, I started actually healing for the first time in my life, probably. And I have felt a heck of a lot better since.
Wow, that's quite a harrowing journey. And I'm sure very frustrating too at times, but I'm glad that you like kept on with it. And now that you have your own little safe space finally too. And I'm really curious with your story. There was one part I wanted to see if you could help clarify for me. So
Yeah.
before when you were in high school, you said you did stop eating wheat for a while and then you went back on it.
Yeah. So I had been allergy tested, and because of the amount of things I tested positive for,
Hmm.
they just had no idea what I truly was allergic to because I
Yeah.
was so inflamed and reacting to everything. They said, just do an elimination diet. If you can tell what you're actually reacting to, that's your answer.
How long do you think you were off wheat there in that time?
I probably stopped eating wheat for at least a year,
Okay.
probably 2 years.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it was just, it's difficult when you're a
Oh, yeah.
teen and,
Oh, no, totally. No, and I don't mean there's no judgment behind it. I
oh,
just,
no, no.
just curious. You were on gluten, off gluten, on gluten, off gluten.
Yeah, but that's how I figured out I felt way
Yeah.
better not eating it. So I'm grateful for that, but I do wish somebody had thought to test me for celiac sooner.
Yeah. And with those earlier doctors, when they were blood testing you, do you remember what they were testing for? And did you ever have any feeling and confidence in that?
No,
In
it was literally just they were testing me for anything and everything. Because when I started losing my hair, they were concerned. They're like, okay, what is going on? I was having bad headaches, like just random symptoms that, go to the eye doctor, get this tested, do that. Everything was fine. I never needed glasses. I was just having migraines.
Got it.
So, yeah. Not to
That's
mention, I stopped growing at like 13. So I'm still the same size.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
very interesting. Yeah, Jennifer, that sounds like so much to go through. So when you were finally diagnosed then, and I know it wasn't sort of a straight line after getting diagnosed that, as you say, cross contact, living with your in-laws and all that. What was your emotional state like when you did get diagnosed? Was there relief that after all of these health struggles that you finally had some answers? I'm guessing a little bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, definitely a mixed bag. I was relieved to have some kind of an answer, but to not have a lot of information to like help me live life a healthy way, it was a little rough. I mean, doing your own research on the internet can be good and bad. So it was a lot to take in and sort of just really figure out as I went.
Can you give us too, it helps for some people listening. Can you tell us what state/city you were in growing up where you were not getting the healthcare you needed, and then when you eventually got diagnosed, and like what years was it?
So I was 11 or 12. So that was, oh goodness, 2000, 2001,
Yeah.
when they first started blood testing me and my hair was falling out. Maybe it was 2002. Hard to
But like
remember.
that early
Early
2000s.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Celiac disease wasn't like a
No.
thing that people were talking about, and gluten-free food was not what it is today.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Rockland County, New York, which is just like 30 minutes north of New York City.
Okay.
And I went to an allergist locally, just like a few towns over from me. And he was great. And he's actually the one that ended up diagnosing me with celiac and forcing me to get the test in the future. It was just at that time, I think it was not something that most
Totally on the
people were.
radar.
Yeah.
And then what year did you end up getting diagnosed?
So that was in 2016.
Okay, yeah. We find, I think, that there's definitely like a surge of diagnoses that started kind of happening post 2010.
That's interesting. I
That's
didn't
just
realize.
that's my intuition. I'm not pulling exact numbers. I'm just anecdotally from stories that we keep hearing. A lot of like between 2010 and on.
Yeah,
Would you agree, Michael?
Yeah, it's certainly going up. Yeah, I think that the rates of diagnosis are, there's more, I think, understanding in the medical community. And certainly we are hearing, yeah, I think anecdotally that there was more of a spike there.
It's just super fascinating to see what the trends are and how it's, gets kind of noticed and picked up on the radar.
definitely. I think because for me, it started with like hair loss and like random symptoms. No one really looked at like the full picture of what was happening.
And then when you did finally get diagnosed, what was the information you were given and like, or how did they send you?
My dad took me to my endoscopy and he sat with me in the room as they told me I had celiac disease, but it really wasn't like an in-depth conversation. And granted, I could have been very groggy from being,
Anesthesia.
yeah, but I really didn't leave there with a wealth of information, feeling very confident about certain things. Having a lifelong friend that also has celiac disease and was diagnosed in college helped me afterwards because she could like kind of give me pointers on what to look out for. And she had a little like dining safety card when we went out to eat. So it was good to have somebody that I could like look to and rely on in real life.
That's definitely true. That's like a great support system. And I'm curious, did you ever compare with her? Like, what information was she given after she was diagnosed? Was it kind of similar to you?
I think it was probably maybe a little more thorough with her because she did like as soon as she was diagnosed, she had the food safety card. She was like really on top of it. But she was also somebody that ended up working in the medical field. She's a registered nurse. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
That's really, really interesting.
Hey, Mike, I wanted to take a minute to talk about our sponsor, Taste Republic. Taste Republic was founded with a singular purpose, and it's one that they have not swayed from, producing high quality, fresh, gluten free pastas.
Yeah, Cam, and what's really cool was how it all started. One of the Taste Republic co-founders was selling traditional pasta at the local farmer's market, had a loyal customer diagnosed with celiac disease, and was upset that they could no longer eat the pasta.
And with that as the driving force, he set out to develop a recipe that was gluten free, yet matched the taste and texture of traditional pastas.
Yeah, and the wild part is that Taste Republic really pulled it off. They still operate under the idea that everyone deserves to eat good pasta no matter their dietary needs. They continue to develop some of the best gluten-free pastas available, like their famed 4-cheese tortelloni.
The best part is you can find your favorite Taste Republic bag of 4-cheese tortelloni or spinach and cheese tortelloni at retailers such as Meijer, Publix, and Target.
Check out all their delicious pastas at tasterepublic.com, where you can use their convenient store locator to find them locally or purchase online. Now let's get back to the show.
Sounds good.
I'm going to pivot a little bit now to talk about how Pam and I love talking to people who take the pain and struggle. You had pain and struggle pre-diagnosis, and certainly after with the learning curve of the cross contact. We love that you channeled a lot of that into the Bread Devil's Guide to Gluten-Free. So can you give us a little background? I know usually a book like this starts with this character, and it's hard to say this about a bread character, but you made the most adorable gluten character I've ever seen.
Thank you.
I want to hug him, and I think that's a good thing. I don't want to eat him. It's really such a wonderful character. So why don't you maybe tell us the origin story of the character, because I'm sure the character has its own origin story before you decided to write the book.
Yeah. So since diagnosis, I had been sketching things, wanting to figure out ways to like help and communicate cross contact. So I would like sketch things here and there. I had like a little wheat stalk man running around a kitchen, dropping little pieces of wheat around, but I never ended up doing anything with them and sort of just shelved, my sketchbook. And then last year in like early January, after getting glutened again, I just was frustrated and started sketching. And he just was born of my frustration and trying to deal with this, and made me feel better because it was funny and I could share it with people and I could get a good laugh out of it. And I don't know, I just saw how sharing it online, it made people ask questions about celiac, but also like connected me to other people. So from there, I just kind of sat with it. And for Celiac Disease Awareness Month in May, I decided I wanted to have some illustrations with him to help promote food safety and like different measures that you would need to take. So he got shown all over my Instagram for the month of May. And I ended up doing some like paid posts so it would get spread further, which he was received well. But there were some people that still had those lovely, nasty comments of like, it's just a crumb. But yeah, he really was my way of dealing with my own emotions about it and wanting to make something good out of all the pain I've been through. And I applied for a grant last year to have some plushies of him made, which I received. So I've got a bunch of these little guys that
Oh, so cool.
I've been selling them at vendor events, and I made them into like a sticker sheet and keychains, and bringing them to places in person made me realize how much people were willing to talk about it. And like they would see it and go, "Oh, this would be great for my friend. They have
Yeah.
a gluten allergy or celiac disease." And we would talk about it. Or if they had no idea about celiac disease, I got to educate them. So it was like the perfect avenue to just bring it to life to people, to let them see what it really means to deal with it, and in a fun way. Like I've had people walk into my vendor booth and just start giggling because they'll see him out on the thing and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, devil bread." And
And
then we'll
just,
talk about it.
and just to give people a visual, if they're listening, it is a little devil character, but it's bread.
He's a slice of bread.
Slice of bread with the horns, just as I said, adorable. And I could see another use, like the plushie is so great for a kid or an adult, is having an issue. It's like almost not demystifying, but it's this character. It's a way to make it seem not so intense. Like we all get glutened, right? And I could see a kid getting, or an adult, no judgment here,
Yeah.
getting really attached to that and hugging that. If you're going through a rough time, it's a really accessible character, really, really lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been really amazing to see how it's been received, and I'm really hopeful that it will help educate some people.
Yeah, I really love the character. And when I was reading through like the safety illustrations, I thought it was so great because it's talking about a serious issue that can be kind of scary. And I'm trying to find the right word for it, but like adding the cuteness factor to it softens it.
Yeah.
And it really makes the whole conversation easier. So when things are in that kind of fashion, they're just so easy to follow and you're more open to whatever the message is. And so it's perfect. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Jennifer, it's nice you've been out, you said in booths, and I know the book is really newly published, and you said you're getting a great response. So, can you share any specific anecdotes with us or just like a general response so far? Because this is such an important addition to, I think, anybody's library who has celiac. And I think kids need this normalized. And I know we have had other authors on, and those are all wonderful. There are a lot from the kids' perspective. And I actually like that you have this perspective. It's a whole different take on things. So, what has been some of the specific reaction and anything you want to share with us about that?
So I've shared the book with some people in this watercolor class that I teach, and they are completely unaware of a lot of celiac disease information. So they were flipping through it and they're like, I had no idea. Oh my goodness. And it just started bringing up more and more questions and they were interested. It was the fact that like they could flip through a kid's book or a book meant for younger people and really be interested enough to go through the entire thing and want to learn more at the end of it. That's exactly what I was hoping for. And for them to be strangers to me and to hand them the book and have them receive it that way felt really good because like I've shown it to my family, friends, but it's different when it's people you don't know. Like your family could gas you up and make you feel good about certain things, but to know that people find value in it and it's information that isn't readily like available to them, it helps spread the word and it gets other people talking and it's really important.
And it seems the book is teaching about celiac, but you also really, a lot of the focus is on the cross contact, right? You want to share with our listeners a little bit about the purpose, and it seems really motivated from your experiences. It seems like that was one of the biggest challenges and learning curves for you in your life.
Yeah, so the book I just wanted to fill with things I wish were shared with me after I was diagnosed, from like dealing with the emotional side of it and like the grief of not being able to live life as I was before and with the kind of ease I had before. And the food safety tips were a big part of it because even like advocating for yourself when you go out in public, it can be scary and intimidating, or you don't want to feel like burden. So to show kids that it's okay and you should and it's important to, that is the biggest driver for me making the book. I just want people to be able to talk about it, to not feel afraid. And by sharing and learning in this way, like you're educating more people and it will make it safer for more of us celiacs if more people understand what celiac disease is and the nuance.
Do you think you're going to add any other characters to the mix? Are they
I
going to be co-stars?
I have been thinking about this. I'm not sure. I would love to like do more with him, but I'm not sure where to go with it. I've made like stickers and fun little things like that, keychains. But yeah, I'm looking to see what else he can do for the community.
Definitely. I'm sure there's other scenarios that you have already experienced or you will experience that maybe he would fit into.
Yeah,
Like traveling, I don't know, maybe he travels to Europe or
that's actually a good
something.
idea. That
He's
is a
got
very good idea.
the little gluten bread's already speaking Spanish and you don't know what he's saying, so you gotta, learn, and now you can be safe in Mexico. I don't know.
He meets his friend, his a cousin, the baguette in France.
He befriends a gluten-free piece of bread.
There you go. I love these.
They're all for you.
We can all get together off the podcast and workshop some other ideas.
I
Yeah.
love that. I had drawn like little crumb, like gremlins
Oh, that's
almost.
so smart. Little crumb demons.
Yeah. So like in the original illustrations I did that I showed on Instagram, they were like these little crumb guys that kind of like ran through the scene.
Yeah,
But that's the extent of the extra characters right now.
that's fun. I like that. You could have a giant crumb dragon.
Oh my God.
Yes. Probably endless things you could do with it. It really is like that kind of character that gets us wanting to brainstorm with you on this.
So fun.
Yeah. I wonder, Jennifer, what advice would you give to other people? I think it's so wonderful. I was saying this before, how you took something that was painful to you. I went through a life with celiac undiagnosed and wanted to reach out to people, so created a documentary, and then Cam wanted to do the same, and we did the podcast. We are always so excited to talk to people like yourself who take some of that unfortunate pain and turn it into something positive, something artistic. What would you say to someone out there who's listening, who is feeling maybe stuck or lost? How do you take that and sort of help give you some motivation moving forward?
So I would just say take every day at a time. And if you feel overwhelmed, it's okay. It's a lot. And you're going to have a lot of emotions about it. There's a lot to learn, but you can. There's a lot of resources out there to help learn different things like label reading. There are different dietitians that can help with different aspects of things. Me as an artist, I've turned to creativity to help me deal with my grief and emotions around things. That's the Bread Devil's origin. And I think if people just give themselves the time to process and really take a step back, Don't look at the things you can't do, look at what you can still do. I mean, there's so much more available now. There are apps to help you travel and find restaurants safely. There's podcasts like yours where people are talking about studies that are going on, different lifestyles, everything that, could be a valuable resource to lean on. And just don't feel like you're alone. There are more of us out there than you realize. I have learned this through going to my vendor events and having the Bread Devil out. The amount of people I've had either talk about it or say they know somebody like truly surprised me.
It finds you. It's like a magnet.
Pretty much. Every single event I do, there's at least one person that either has celiac disease and even more that say they know somebody with an allergy.
And like you said, it is a great community. And I think we all want to support each other. And we have this shorthand, once you say you have a gluten intolerance or celiac disease, of how hard it can be to navigate life. So we all have each other's backs and everything. Is there anything that we didn't hit on today, Jennifer, that you'd like to share with our listeners about the Bread Devil or not? I'm, of course, going to give you a chance to tell people how they can find Bread Devil, how we can support your work and all of that. But anything we haven't hit on the podcast that you'd like to share?
So I am looking to donate a bunch of these books to different schools and libraries around the country. So if you have a suggestion of where you would like a book donated, please reach out to me because I would love to hear.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I did a Kickstarter and I had my book fully funded to print the first 100 copies. So I am going to donate a good portion.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. And is there a place that anyone can maybe connect with you, read about your story, see the Bread Devil, of course, and anything else that you're working on?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's my name, jenniferschiano.com. And I also have thebreaddevil.com. So you can find more about the book there on both websites. They're both connected. And also on social media, I'm at Jennifer Schiano on Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's great. And we are excited to follow along the story of the Bread Devil, see what comes of it, and love that you have the plushies made. And I think it's just such a great character. Like I say, this thing that we create a lot of fear around to make it into a cuddly character, I think was just the smartest thing, just such a great way to approach the topic. He's like swimming in one of my favorite images, showed my daughter this, who has celiac as well, of him like doing the backstroke in the oil.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones too.
Yes, spreading his gluten in the fryer, and just a really great way to get information out, to use humor, to use, as I say, a character that's not threatening. It is threatening to us if we eat it, but just a really great approach. Really love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And thank you again, too, for jumping on and sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to today's show. If you like the podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to the podcast. This will help other people find the show. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.